Who are you when no one is watching? Because your culture isn't what you say, it's what you do. You don't build culture with slogans. You don't build it with mission statements. You build it with actions. What you do is who you are. So the question is, what are you doing that defines who you are? Every great leader understands one thing: culture is not a perk, it's not an afterthought, it is the defining factor of success. Ben Horowitz argues that culture is built by what leaders consistently do, not by what they say. The hidden truth about culture, it's not what you preach, it's what you tolerate. Here's the hard truth: your culture isn't your mission statement. It's the way your team behaves when things get tough. It's the small decisions, the hard calls, the standards you enforce every day. If you say we value honesty but reward people who lie to hit targets, then dishonesty is your real culture. What you allow is what will define you. The power of cultural leadership, history's greatest examples. Horowitz draws lessons from leaders who shaped cultures in extreme conditions. Toussaint Louverture, the former slave who built an unstoppable army. He led a revolution by instilling discipline, resilience, and moral authority. Proved that leaders create culture through consistent behavior, not words. The Samurai Code. Why Bushido still shapes leadership today. Samurai culture wasn't just about combat, it was a way of life, built on honor, sacrifice, and unwavering discipline. Their actions defined their legacy, not their words. Your legacy won't be your title, it won't be your mission statement. It will be the culture you create through your actions. Great culture doesn't happen by accident. It's designed, built, reinforced every single day. Horowitz lays out the key principles for creating a lasting culture. Define the behaviors you want and enforce them ruthlessly. Here's what works. Identify the 2 to 3 behaviors that define your culture and make them non-negotiable. Lead by example. If you want honesty, be honest. If you want discipline, be disciplined. Reinforce culture through action, not posters on the wall. Your team won't follow your words, they will follow your example. Hire and fire based on culture, not just skills. A strong culture means making tough choices. Hire people who fit the culture, not just the job. Remove toxic influences immediately, even if they're top performers. Reinforce values in every meeting, decision, and interaction. If you protect toxic employees, you're killing your culture. Make culture a competitive advantage. Why culture is the most powerful long-term strategy? It attracts and retains the best talent. It builds trust and alignment. Teams move faster and execute better. It creates resilience. When crises hit, strong cultures thrive while weak ones collapse. The difference between success and failure? Culture. It's that simple. So the question is, what kind of culture are you creating? Because what you do is who you are. Which kind of culture are you building? Because in the end, what you do is who you are. How do you build a culture that outlasts you? Because companies don't fail because of bad products, they fail because of bad culture. Culture is not just about today, it's about the future. It's about what you leave behind. So the question is, are you building a culture that will last? Because what you do is who you are. Every great culture faces a breaking point. The moment when growth threatens to destroy what made it strong in the first place. Ben Horowitz lays out the biggest challenge in leadership: scaling culture without losing it. The bigger you get, the harder culture is to control. Why culture weakens as companies grow. New hires dilute original values. Without clear training, they bring different behaviors. Managers shift focus to performance, not culture. Execution takes priority over principles. Leadership becomes distant. Leaders assume employees get it instead of reinforcing culture daily. Growth doesn't destroy culture, neglect does. How to scale culture without losing it. Ben Horowitz's 3 rules for keeping culture strong at scale. Rule number 1. Train culture like a skill. Culture must be taught, not assumed. Every new hire should go through an intense cultural onboarding process. Rule number 2. Promote culture champions. Reward and elevate people who embody the values, not just high performers. Rule number 3. Fire people who don't fit, no matter how good they are. A brilliant but toxic employee is a cancer to your culture. The moment you tolerate cultural misalignment is the moment your culture starts dying. A great culture doesn't just last for one leader, it must last beyond you, and that means designing a system that makes it indestructible. Ben Horowitz explains that a culture only survives if it is built into the organization's DNA. It cannot depend on one person. It must be embedded in systems, training, and daily rituals, resilient to change. If a culture is tied to one leader's personality, it collapses when they leave, constantly reinforced. The best cultures have built-in mechanisms that reinforce behavior even without the founder. The leaders who built cultures that outlived them. How great cultures survived leadership transitions. The Samurai Code, also known as Bushido even after samurai warriors disappeared, their culture of discipline, respect, and honor continued. Shaka Senghor's prison gang leadership transformed a violent prison culture by instilling structure, values, and unbreakable discipline. Lou Gerstner's IBM turnaround revived IBM's culture, ensuring that its values continued long after he left. If your culture dies when you leave, then you never really built one. The Culture Code: How to Ensure Your Legacy Lasts. Horowitz lays out 4 steps to make culture unbreakable. First, document it clearly. Write down the behaviors that define your culture. Make it simple, specific, and repeatable. Second, make it non-negotiable. There should be no exceptions for cultural misalignment, no matter how talented someone is. Third, reinforce it daily. Every meeting, every hire, every policy should reinforce the culture. And finally, pass it down intentionally. Teach the next generation of leaders how to maintain the culture long before you step away. If you don't pass down the culture, then all you've built will disappear. The question is, what kind of culture will you leave behind? A great leader isn't measured by what they achieve while they're in charge, but by what happens after they leave. Your legacy isn't your title, it's not your revenue, it's the culture you built. The ultimate test of leadership is not how well things run when you're there, it's how well they run when you're gone. Ben Horowitz argues that a leader's true success is judged by how well they pass on their culture to the next generation. The cultures that survived and the ones that didn't. 3 examples of cultures that lasted: the Samurai Code, also known as Bushido. Even after samurai warriors disappeared, their values of discipline, honor, and resilience influenced Japanese society for centuries. Then there's Amazon's relentless innovation. Jeff Bezos built a culture of day one thinking so deeply ingrained that the company continued thriving after his departure. And finally, Netflix's no rules policy. Their radical culture of freedom and responsibility wasn't tied to one leader. It became part of the company's DNA. The best leaders don't just run organizations, they build cultures that run themselves. Now let's look at what happens when a culture isn't built to last. Why some cultures collapse when leadership changes. The culture was personality-driven. It relied on one leader instead of clear principles. Values were never written down. Employees followed habits, not an actual system. There was no succession plan. Leaders assumed culture would just continue. If your culture can't survive without you, then you never really built one. The 3 laws of leadership legacy. Horowitz lays out 3 laws for making culture last beyond one leader. Law number 1, write your culture down. Culture must be clearly defined, not just spoken, but documented. Amazon's famous leadership principles are written, repeated, and reinforced daily. Law number 2, train the next generation relentlessly. Every leader must create future leaders who understand and protect the culture. McDonald's built a system where every franchise owner is trained in the company's core principles. Law number 3, create rituals that keep the culture alive. Culture isn't maintained by rules, it's reinforced by daily habits. Example, Netflix's radical culture of self-accountability means employees manage themselves. Culture is a habit. If you don't reinforce it every day, it will disappear. How to pass down a culture that can't be broken. How to ensure your culture survives the test of time. Develop the next generation of culture leaders before you leave. Ensure every major decision aligns with cultural values. Design a system where employees hold each other accountable, not just leadership enforcing rules. The best cultures are self-sustaining. They don't need a leader because they are the leader. So the final question is, will your culture last beyond you? Culture isn't built in a day. It's built every single day. And your legacy isn't what you achieve. It's the culture you leave behind. The future of your success depends on what you build today. If you believe culture is built, not just talked about, smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss the biggest lessons in leadership and success. Turn on the notification bell because the best cultures are built through consistency. Drop a comment below. What's one cultural value that every great leader should have?